All right. So now we looked at number. So we're going to look at the string next. So what is the string? I know you you're familiar with the term number. What do we mean by string? What is a string? Let's have a look see. A string represents a sequence of keyboard characters. Strings can hold data in text form and they're enclosed inside either single or double quotation marks. So to put it simply, a string is just character text or keyboard text rather. So anytime I type something in uh and I want it to be the literal representation of what I type on the keyboard, that is a string. So I'm going to say a string is, I'll just say keyboard text. So how would that look? Well, let's console that. I'm going to say console.log, and I'm going to put in double quotes. I'm just going to write my name, console.log satch. And I make sure that it is in double quotes. And when I come back over here and refresh the browser, and there I can see there's my name, Satch, written as basic text. So a string just represents the characters on the keyboard, however we choose to write that. Okay. Um, and as stated in my crude definition, a string can be represented by characters either using single quotes or double quotes. So right here, I'm going to write Satch again and put that in single quotes. I come here and refresh, and there you can see Satch and Satch again, written as strings. So with this, we can store other kinds of information, uh, passing it in or returning a simple string. And when it comes to choosing to use either single quotes or double quotes, it's more or less a style thing. In most cases, there are times where you would want to break out and use one over the other. But generally, with the string, you can use either a single or double quote. We'll come back to that. No, we can stay right here. So with the strings, we can combine strings much like we combine a number, say like we did 4 plus 3. We can combine strings as well. And it is using this symbol here. Now, when dealing with number, with that data type, we know that to be what, the plus sign, correct? And it means that we are adding, that we are using the addition operation. With strings, we don't refer to that as addition. Instead, we call it concatenation. Okay, so what we're doing here with strings, anytime we use this symbol, we are concatenating the string. So you will hear me in particular, I will reference this symbol as either being the addition symbol or concatenation symbol. So let's see what that looks like. I can say console.log hello plus world. And when I do this, let's see what happens. I get hello world. Now, if I'm returning this back to the user. Is that what I want? Probably not. So, how could I solve this so that it returns hello space world? One way I could do it is I can simply add space right after the O, like so. Come back here and refresh. And there it is, hello world. That's one way to do it. Another way I could do it is I can add space before the W. There it is, works just fine, hello world. Or if I want to be really weird, what I can do is I can add space or concatenate space just like I'm concatenating text. In other words, what I mean is right here after the plus sign, I can add some space, just empty space. Let me create a new concatenation symbol. So I got a hello plus space plus world. I'm combining these three strings and it works just fine. So what that tells me is that white space is counted in the string, meaning I can, let's see what happens if I add a bunch of space right here, like so. So I have mountains of space. And I come over here and refresh, and yeah, you can see it broke it onto another line. So what this is called white space. White space is factored in a string. Now, normally again, you can write it like this, and that works just fine. What I'm going to do is I'm going to revert back to what I had previously, and I'll put the space after the O. So I have hello space and then world. And that's going to take me back to hello world. But let's talk some more about the usage of single quotes versus double quotes. Let's see, console.log. And I'm going to open up single quotes. I'm going to say, hey, my name is Satch. I'm 45 years old. Look what happened. We have an error right here.
The number.
Yeah, well, more than the number, but yeah, the number is a part of it. If I look at my string, okay, and matter of fact, I'll close it right there. But when I look at it, I'm using a single quote here to open my string up. And then I have an apostrophe right here, or a single quote in between the I and the M. So what's happening is whenever I'm writing a string, once I open up my quote, whether I use a single quote or I use a double quote, the program or the editor is automatically going to look for the next instance of that character, whether it's single quote or double quote. Here, I'm using a single quote to open up my string. And so it's going to look for the very next time that it sees a single quote, and it sees it right here. And so when I do that, I get an error. I get this nasty error message right here. and it says uncaught syntax error, missing a close parentheses after argument list, which isn't quite exactly the error. That we know that the error here is that the string isn't opened or closed correctly. So what I want to do is I want to let the program know that, hey, this is supposed to be an apostrophe, not a single quote that closes my string. Or what I could do is I can, instead of using a single quote right there, I can make this a double quote. And when I do that, looks like everything's okay. Yeah, it's fixed. But let's say I want to stick with the single quote. If I want to do that, I would need to fix this. What I would need to do is I need to escape this single quote here. And I would escape it by putting a backslash in front of the quote. Now, when I put this backslash in front of the quote, it's saying, hey, this character right here is going to be an apostrophe and not the closing of the string. So now my error is gone and it does console my message correctly. So this is something that, again, you have to be careful with, okay? Your string, you want to make sure that it's open and closed correctly. Because again, you can use single quotes or you can use double quotes. It doesn't matter. I mean, I could do the same thing here. I could say, console.log, and I open this one with double quotes. Rodney Dangerfield says, I don't get no respect. And there it is. Again, you can see, as a matter of fact, I'll put that right there. You can see that I'm getting another error because here I'm opening up my string with a double quote. It ends with a double quote, but it's looking at this double quote right here and expecting that to end the string. So what I need to do again is make an escape right there. But not only do I need to make an escape there, I need to make an escape in front of this other one as well. And so now it looks at this quote, this double quote, as well as this double quote, and says, okay, hey, I know this represents quotations. This doesn't end the string right here. This simply represents just quotes. Come over here and refresh. And there it is. And you can see even in the console, the double quotes are there. So, but with the string, you can write any kind of text. Also, I can do this. If I say console.log, I'm going to put string 5 plus 5, like so. What do you think I would get here? You say 5? You say 5 plus 5? Someone says 55. Someone says 10. Cool. Awesome. You get 5 plus 5. Because again, this is literal text. Okay, so this is the string 5 plus 5 will represent the actual character text 5 plus 5 and not the calculation of 5 plus 5. Let's get really weird. I'm going to do this. First thing I'm going to do is I want to clear out everything because right now I can see that my console is getting real long. I have all this stuff here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this other command here. I'm going to say console.clear, open and close parentheses like so. I come over here and refresh, and it says console was clear. I mean, I just cleared out everything. So console.clear, make a little comment right here, clears the console. All right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say, hey, let's console.log. We talked about number of string. I'm going to say console 1 plus 1. Console, well, the number 1 plus the number 1 is console.log. The string 1 plus the string 1. Console.log. The number 1 plus the string 1. And then I'm going to say console.log 2 times 2. Console.log the string, not console.group, that's silly. Console.log the number 2, say times 2. The string 2 times 2. Let's console.log the string 2 up times the string 2. And let's console.log the number 2 times the string 2. All right. So let's look at this. If I say the number 1 plus the number 1, what do you expect? 2. If I say the string 1 plus the string 1, what do you expect? 11. Do we want the string 11 or the number 11? So the number 11, okay. If I say the number 1 plus the string 1, 1 plus 1? Tell me as a string? All right. 1 plus 1. 2 times 2. The number 2 times the number 2 would be 4. The string 2 times the string 2 would be, okay. Oh, let me put my comment. The number 2, the string 2 times the string 2 would be the string 22. And the number 2 times the string 2, the string 2 times 2. Let's see. All right. Let's refresh. Okay. So the first one, we said 2. Correct. Number 1 plus the number 1 gives me the number 2. The second one, I said the string 1 plus the string 1, and we said returns the number 11. That returns the string 11. And we'll talk about this in a little bit, but it's the string 11. The number 1 plus the string 1, when you said the string 1 plus 1, and that returned the string 11. The number 2 times the number 2, that's 4. The string 2 times 2 returns the string 2 times 2. The string 2 times the string 2, it didn't return the string 22. It returned the number 4. And the number 2 times the string 2 also returned the number 4. So what's happening? That's weird. I remember back in my days of algebra, if I had, say, 1 or x plus y, or 5 minus b, once I got to 5 minus b, I had to stop, right? Or if I had x plus y, I had to stop. Or to be a little more abstract, if I had 1 plus the square root of 7, I had to stop at 1 plus the square root of 7. And I didn't try to calculate that anymore. I couldn't. That was in its simplest form, because what were we taught? You cannot combine unlike terms, right? That's something that we were all taught. Well, here in JavaScript, that's not exactly the case. And I remember when I first learned JavaScript, I got so upset because I used to teach math. So I was thinking, if I have the number 1 plus the string 1, it just stops there. 1 plus the string 1. But no, it was actually doing something different. And a thing that is doing different is what we call type coercion. And I'm going to put that right here. It's type coercion, meaning what it does, what JavaScript is doing, it is taking one data type, say a number, and converting it to a string. And then it does performs some kind of processing. So when I have the concatenation symbol, as I do right here, and I have the number and a string, or I'm trying to convert or combine a number and a string using the concatenation symbol, then what JavaScript does is it takes that number and turns it into a string and then performs the task. So that's why we get the string 11 here, because what JavaScript is doing is taking this number 1, converting it to a string, and then basically treating it like this expression here, where I have the string 1 plus the string 1. That's what's happening here. Type coercion exists even with multiplication, as we see right here. I'm taking here, we said this was, we said the string 22. I don't know why we didn't say the string 4, but whatever. Taking the number 2 times, the string 2 times the string 2, that multiplication symbol is going to convert the string into a number. And so when it does that, it's going to take these 2 strings, turn them both into numbers, and then instead of returning 22, it's actually returning the number 4. Same thing here. I'm taking the number 2 times the string 2, and it converts this 2, which is a string, it converts it into a number. And then it performs the calculation. So it's a little weird thing that JavaScript does. I haven't written Python in some years now, but I remember with Python, it leaned more towards like what I was accustomed to, where, if I have 2 unlike terms, I could not combine them. So if I had the number 1 plus the string 1, it would just stop right there and say, nope, this is as far as we go. Here with JavaScript, and this is just vanilla JavaScript, we're not doing any TypeScript or anything. But it's looking at it and say, no, I got it. I'll take that number and turn it into a string, or Or hey, I can take that string, turn it into a number, and then continue with the processing. And that's how it works. And again, this is called type coercion. You may not always want to do that. One of the drawbacks, if you will, about just vanilla JavaScript is that it is not what we call TypeScript or type specific, meaning that here, as you can see, we could take one data type and convert it into another and vice versa. So you want to be careful with that because again, this is not something that you will always want to have happen. I'm showing this to you to see what JavaScript does, not necessarily what we wanted to do. This is where you, being a developer, getting hello world printed on the screen, this is where your mind comes in. You say, okay, well, what does this need to look like? What does this data represent? You know, how do I want this program to perform? Will it be able to perform any further if this is a string and not a number? Can I, present the information correctly if it's a number and not a string? Those are things that you have to be mindful of when you're doing this. Any questions or comments about this? Cool, because I'm the greatest teacher ever. So leave it without any questions. You understand everything. All right, so yeah, that's the string. Obviously, we're going to do much more stuff with this, but right now this is just going over the data types. Okay, so you can see what they are, and these are all, again, just like with number, the string returns a singular piece of data. When I came over here and combined hello and world, it returned a singular piece of data, the string hello world, not the string hello plus the string world. It returned hello world. So that's something else to keep in mind when you're dealing with data and the primitive data types, and we're seeing what's returned. We're returning a singular piece of data. So we'll go into the next lesson, which will be looking at briefly looking at Boolean, undefined, and null.